Excellent, excellent.
Oh, there. Now you sound a lot better.
Yeah, my earpiece is not excellent. Trying.
There. I just turned up your volume. That might help us maybe equalize the difference in sound.
Yeah, my Bluetooth headpiece is not working. Do I sound okay like this?
Yeah, no, you sound perfect, man. We're just starting out. Personally, I think we should be who we are. So I think we should say our names and introduce ourselves, and this is who we are. And if we say anything potentially damaging or, litigious, we could always bleep that shit out.
Yeah, but there's a whole area of concern only because of our sheltered lives. And what I mean by that is, for example, Chris, a gentleman I work with and you know well, kind of mentioned out of circumstance, because you had just spoken to him and I made some sort of comment and he thought I was crazy. And so I had to explain to him that, well, he and I are actually starting a podcast today. And we thought that was interesting at best.
Yeah. Well, it's not for everybody. I mean, there's only a couple, meaning two people I think in my life that listen to podcasts. Oh. And you're the one that I know listens to them daily. So, I mean, for as big as podcasting is, I don't think it affects people. I don't think it affects everyone the way it affects us.
Well, then, given that, why would it be relevant to disclose our true identities?
Personally, I just like being myself, and I like it when I respond to situations, without thinking of an end game or without thinking of.
No, I agree. I agree with that. It's just, I often have conversations, or situations where I don't disclose exactly who I am for whatever reason. Yeah. I'll call a place and just say, hey, listen, it doesn't really matter who I am. I've got this rash. Can you assist me with this? It's like I have a friend that, hey, one of those situations. And again, there, I don't mind using our first names, but I also contrast it with my friend John, who is on the extreme as far as identity protection. My brother as well is just so paranoid about disclosing any factoid of themselves, including their picture. This weekend I was home in New York and going through some things on actually my parents' computer. And are you familiar with Picasa?
Yeah.
Amazing program. Now, Picasa downloaded, or not downloaded, but I downloaded it for free, looking to add some text to a picture, type of thing. Trying to do a favor. And I was not very familiar with Picasa. I heard of it, just not very familiar with its capabilities. And it began scanning this entire computer, every folder, and unbeknownst to me, it actually identifies faces through, these pictures. And all these thumbnails, all these face headshots started popping up, and they were organized. So, for example, my mother, all of her pictures were, gathered and in one spot. And I said, wow, who's doing that? How is this possible? And then I realized that it's just a function of Picasa to scour each image, identify photos, and categorize them. But not only that, different photos of the same person, somehow they have some sort of amazing algorithm that's able to differentiate our face prints, basically.
Yeah. So
once there's a face print, in theory, hey, all you need is a picture of them, and you could say, oh, that's John Doe lives on 123 Main Street. So for that and all of the unintended consequences of public knowledge of identities, you know, you know that they live in this area, you know they work there, you know that they have so many children, you know that they work in this you know environment or this business or they do this for a living. I don't know. It's just exposure, unwanted exposure, and maybe it's just a result of the paranoia of my friends and my brother that are getting me to want to protect my identity. In addition to that, what's contributing to my anxiousness is the fact that there are a lot of behaviors that I indulge in that are probably not going to be too looked on favorably. Let's put it that way, by people that care about me, respect me. Not that I shouldn't be genuine, but do I necessarily need to broadcast our differences?
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's my hesitation.
So
I use the word hesitation because, you know, on the other end of the spectrum is just wanting to be, like you said, true and genuine in myself. And if I can't be myself, you know, then I feel like I'm being hypocritical.
Well, I think we could be ourselves with first names. I think we're cool there. The more you duplicate yourself online, the bigger the target is for you to be the victim of something that our friends and us are all worried about. So I think first names are cool. And then, like, maybe it would be a big unveiling on the 100th episode or something, and we can disclose our full names if that, you know, gets us.
You know what would be really incredible? Although right now the only two human beings that are going to listen to this are you and I. But by the 100th episode, it'd be interesting to know if anybody identifies us by then.
Right.
Given, you know, well, A, they'd have to listen to these podcasts relatively routinely, and then B, make those connections. And who knows, our listening audience might, by a 100th episode, it might actually be up to, I don't know, 500 people out of 7 billion. There's 7 billion people on Earth. Mm-hmm. So if we had a subscription of 500, I think that would be pretty decent, actually.
Yeah, we got to whittle that down though, because we're English speaking. So, I mean, I respect your 7 billion number, but
well, out of 7 billion, that's the total set.
Well, that's of course countries that are overseas, isn't it? Wouldn't the majority of the world's population be centered in China and India, or am I just being bigoted?
No, well, yeah, that's not a stretch for you, Bruce. But given the 7 billion, that's the total set, and then after that there are qualifiers. You know, language, primary language being one. Can you hear that ruckus?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that'd be my 7-year-old entertaining himself. There's no one else in this house except for him and I. I'm engaged with you. He is. I don't know what the hell he's doing. He was supposed to be taking a shower, but well, we'll just let him go. But out of the 7 billion, then you filter down to, well, A, English speaking, B, has the means to listen to a podcast, C, has discovered our podcast, D, actually listens to it. You know, that's that in itself will whittle down to, I don't know, maybe a couple thousand will try it. I don't know, more than that will try it. Out of 7 billion, we'll probably get, I don't know, I'm guessing 10,000 downloads.
Wow, that's a lot.
No, of which out of the 10,000, 7,000 will have not gotten this far in the first podcast.
Yeah, we may need to cut this one up a little bit.
What are you talking about? No, this is it. This is it. If they can't take this, they're not going to take us.
We're far more interesting than this bullshit.
No, I think that this mundane conversation of how to even launch is something that they would appreciate.
Maybe they'll tap in like episode 25 when we got it down, and then these will be like the forgotten episodes. Like they go.
Yeah, absolutely. One of our favorite podcasts, which is Inspired Us, I think you'd agree, is Joe Rogan. You've heard of him.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Now let me ask you this: have you listened to episode 1?
No.
Okay, see. Now I have. Now why would you go back to episode 1? It's a forgotten one, but I have, and it is actually very funny.
Well, the reason I didn't is I've got a short list of podcasts that I listen to. I listen to all of them, usually from episode 1. But Rogan is so intimidating because he knocks one out like every day. And I knew that I couldn't get from 1 to present. So with Rogan, I go present back because there's so much media out there,
Hey.
Whatever that was before, that was very bad. So we're going to discard that.
What, the whole talk?
No. We got the first 13 minutes. The last time you called me, it's like I was talking to aliens. It was.
Yeah, I am. I'm a little bothered because, that was me, just so you know. 100% me. I flicked on my Bluetooth headset so I don't have to hold the phone.
I love you, man, but you're Bluetooth retarded. You know that.
Well, no, it has to do with the combination between the Bluetooth and the headset. And Skype, I mean. It works perfectly. It worked the other day.
I mean,
we did the test.
Well, kind of, until you got in your car and turned it on, and your Leaf took control of your Bluetooth. Well,
first of all, it was a Subaru, so.
Bluetooth is like the Philippines. Everyone takes control of it at a moment's notice.
Well, they take turns, yeah, I guess. It's like, it was like the groupie, the groupie of the football team. Everyone just takes a turn.
So you don't have to call me Greg. My name's Chris. Did you call me Greg before?
No, I called you Bruce.
Oh, Bruce. Yeah, no, my name's Chris.
Well, you could call me Greg.
Okay, Greg. So, dude, I wish you could see what's going on right now. So, I have to go to the shooting range tomorrow to qualify for my concealed weapons permit. So I've got all this ammo of which I know nothing about.
That's a good start.
So
I'm going to pass this test. I know nothing about any of this stuff.
So I got the real like heavy duty ammo, but I've been told that my gun, and I know this for sure, it shoots 2 different types of ammo. So it shoots .357, which is kind of a badass round, like a Clint Eastwood round. And then it shoots .38 Special, which is more like a Paul Rudd round.
Okay, can I expose how ignorant I am?
Yeah.
Now .357. For some reason I think it's a measurement of millimeters of radius.
I don't know, man. Like that, I'm telling you, I do not know. I know that all of the .357 rounds are the same size with different ends, and those are the Clint Eastwood rounds. And the .38 rounds, which I've shot, they're slightly smaller.
Slightly bigger.
No, slightly smaller. So yeah, I think that the .357 is a larger bullet with a larger amount of gunpowder behind it, meant to do larger damage.
Well, this isn't a handheld gun, right?
No, it is. It's a little pistol.
Pistol? Well, a pistol is a gun, right? I mean, a handheld gun, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a handheld gun.
Right. So is it a revolver?
Yeah, it's a revolver.
Okay. So how is it? Now you would think that the chambers, I think that's what they're called, wouldn't it be a certain diameter?
A diameter shared by both rounds.
Well, how is that possible?
Well, one's longer and one's shorter, but it shoots the same round. It's actually kind of a bargain. I didn't know that before I inherited the gun from Jen's dad, who recently passed away. So anyway, so I'm going through all of this, and I'm not as redneck as you may think. So I look up in the top of this gun cabinet that I was given, and there's a leather belt with places in the belt for bullets, right? So and then I assume you attach a 6-shooter to the belt, but you've got bullets all the way around the belt for like a gunfight.
Right, like in the movies.
Yeah, so I took those bullets out because I don't think I'll ever be in a position where I'm going to wear that belt out in public. And I put those bullets over here, and I'm going to try to shoot those tomorrow, even though they're kind of gross. They're older and they've got kind of muck on the outside of them.
I can't imagine anything going wrong with old bullets with muck on them.
Possibly go wrong.
What could possibly go wrong? And, why not just try it for the heck of it?
Yeah, and then I've got this one stray bullet, which I'm fascinated how this bullet got in with the other bullets. So we've got this group of bullets over here, and they're 38 special. We got this group of bullets over here, and they're 357 Magnum. And then I've got this little bullet that's in between, and he's a 7mm. And he wants so hard to be one of the other two bullets, but he's not. He's a tweener. So I'm not going to fire that bullet. I'm going to leave that aside.
What?
You in the bath? Am I disturbing you?
No, I have a dog, and my dog is great dog. But I feel horribly because I wish I could give him a better life. Right now, a lot of his life is waiting for human contact during the day because he's home all day. So we come home and he just wants to play and do all these things. And one of his fun things to do is to hop into the tub and drink out of the running water. So he hopped in and he gave me the look, like, please turn it on. So I turned it on, and I was saying to myself, I wonder if Chris could hear this.
Right.
And apparently, you could. So
crystal clear. The other thing I did this evening while I was waiting for you to join me was I went on YouTube and I figured out how to clean and oil my gun. And I think I did a pretty good job because it's all of the mechanisms of the gun are so smooth and it looks good.
Well, the way it should be, right?
Yeah, so like I'm all ready to go shoot some targets tomorrow, dude.
So I'm getting back to the fact that it shoots 38s or 357s. So do you own a 357 or a 38?
I own a 357. Wait. It says it, yeah, 357 Magnum. That sounds awesome, by the way, dude.
It does.
But it's really like a little tiny gun. But anyway, a 357 Magnum that also shoots 38. And it's this little known secret. And when you're a gun guy like me now, I've been a gun guy for like a month, you know that this gun can shoot 38, which brings your cost bullet from $1 to 33 cents.
Oh, that's a saving.
Yeah.
Does it do 1/3 the damage?
Well, probably. But what I found out from taking this class is that it's probably not going to matter. Like, stuff goes down so quickly and so rapidly, and if anyone wants to do you damage within 20 feet, you're done. So the reason I'm getting this now is that when I'm hiking or when I'm on these trails in these national parks we have around us, I can now carry this, which is a pretty good deterrent for a coyote or a wolf or a bear or a...
Oh, so is a slingshot. Come on.
No. I mean, I really think because none of those animals really want to mess with you if you're going to be a challenge. So
wait. So let me get this straight. Are you insinuating that if you're walking down a path in the forest and you come across a wild animal.
What?
And it's
no. Which one? I named a couple. Give me one. New York.
Coyote. Go with the coyote.
All right, coyote.
Coyote's got teeth, sharp fangs.
Yep.
That'll tear you apart. Now you're saying that if you stand there and that coyote's thinking, ooh, I'm gonna eat this white man. I love me some white redneck. And then if you were to take out your .357 Magnum and point it at him, he'd say, "Whoa, hey, sorry, dude, I didn't realize you're packing."
Well, a coyote is like 40 pounds, and there's only been one documented human attack of a coyote versus a human.
Okay.
Coyote would more go for your kids.
Okay.
I would put 2 rounds in a coyote, and it'd be done.
Okay, so what animal are you using to scare?
Okay, so
use it as a deterrent.
Let's move up the food chain. We don't have wolves in California, but let's go with a bear. With a bear, you try to look intimidating. You get really big, and you try to look intimidating to a bear, or else he's going to gnaw on your head. So while you're looking big, if you pop off a couple rounds in the air, that bear's done with you. Like that bear's like, holy shit. Like there's some fucking magic coming out of that guy's hand.
So you say intimidation with sound, with the percussion sound of some loud gun.
Yeah, because I don't want to shoot a bear. And a bear is a gigantic, magnificent beast, and depending on which one you have, you're not going to do much damage with a .357 revolver. So in that case, you're just trying to get rid of the bear. The scariest predator we have here are mountain lions. And I think that you would probably have to shoot a mountain lion because you can't intimidate a mountain lion because it's a cat. You would have to actually, do some damage to it.
Yeah. And all I know is that domesticated cats are cunts to begin with.
Yeah.
So imagine a wild cat.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a fucking wild super cunt.
120-pound wild super cunt that you don't ever see coming. So anyway, just have.
Yeah, they're like the ninjas of the wild, aren't they?
Well, I mean, and I think I'm being kind of cunty, to give a Roganism, because basically what I'm kind of doing is I could do the same thing with an animal in the wild with an air gun.
Well, that's my point. You can shoot blanks and achieve the same thing in theory. So.
I mean, that's kind of gay, Greg. I mean, yeah, you could. I mean, but you could do the same with an air gun. I don't know. It makes me feel a little bit safer to know that I could shoot something, but I probably can't anyway, because when you get amped up in those situations, you don't see clearly. You're not trained for it. You're not a Navy SEAL. You're some dude that sells stuff. That's your job.
Maybe you're not a Navy SEAL. Speak for yourself.
Sorry. Great.
Thank you.
You've just unearthed clue number 1 to our true identity.
So talk about insinuating that you're something you're not. So I was in college, and there was this this girl. Let's just put it that way, and somehow somebody, or she just got me confused or something with some guy that was a black belt. So somehow she insinuated that, she thought I was a black belt. Something. I forget the exact situation, and she said, "Oh, well, you're good with your hand, your hands are weapons." I'm like, "Yeah." And then after a couple of comments, I realized that, oh, she thinks I'm a black belt. I forgot the exact thing. But rather than correcting her, I let it go. And then after a couple more dates, I kind of really fell into it.
Right.
And assumed it, and verbalized it, and which is obviously just so wrong. But, just trying to impress.
So how did that end? Because I can't.
Not well.
Right.
Not well.
Possibly go wrong.
Oh yeah, no. There have been a multitude of situations of complete exposure, and one of the the worst settings. A forum of 20 people. What? You told her you were a black belt?
But you
in the cafeteria.
But you didn't. You just didn't correct it.
Right, which is, and then you try working that one. Try using that as defense. Yeah. Well, I didn't exactly tell her. Well, you told her you were a black belt. I didn't tell her. Well, you agreed with her. Well, I didn't tell her, but you agreed with her. Well, I didn't correct her. And everyone's rolling their eyes. It was just a bad, embarrassing. It's okay though.
That's an episode of like where I can see Kramer doing that, and then a situation would arise on the street where his girlfriend would say, "Take care of this," and then Kramer would have to do something very Kramerish.
Yeah, there's an episode somewhere in some movie where someone pretended to be a doctor, and then they were like, "Is your doctor in the house?"
Well, that was Spies Like Us. That movie?
Oh, I was thinking of George for some reason. I thought there was an episode.
Well, I'm sure. I heard on a podcast that there's only 5 stories. There's 5 basic stories that all movies and books and everything's written off of. 5 basic stories, of which I know none because I didn't listen that far. But there's no original ideas, I
can get my dog out of here. My dog got into my room. Go. Get out of here. Good dog. If anyone out there is considering dogs, one of the doodles, Labradoodle, Golden Doodle, they're amazing, man. Really amazing. Hypoallergenic, super smart, and because they're not 100% poodles, they're actually pretty good-looking dogs. Pretty fun. The whole doodle name is a little bit faggy, but.
Wow, you dropped faggy on our first podcast, dude. Good for you. Oh shit. I just opened up another box of ammunition, and I have no idea what this shit is.
Well, if it's round and it has a pin that you pull, don't pull the pin.
Holy cow. Dude, I have no idea. I'm gonna have to...
Did you buy this ammunition, or was it part of the inheritance?
It was part of the inheritance. Like, it doesn't have... Well, and because I live in California, there's all these laws about, like, what you can have and what you can't have, and I don't... God, I hope these aren't, like, cop killers or something, dude. Like, that would suck, huh?
Well, what are cop killers?
I don't know. Some exploding bullet that Ice-T rapped about in the 90s. So it says 38 special, and there's no bullet on the end of it. Huh. Alright, well, I'm gonna take it to the range and see what the guy says. Dude, okay, so I go to this class, this concealed weapons class. There's like probably 25 people in the room. As you look around the room, you realize that you don't want any of these people to be carrying a weapon at any time in any situation. Quite a mix of where I live. A lot of just, I don't know, misinformed, opinionated racists. Okay? So, and the instructor is a U.S. Marshal. And
all right, just pause for a second, sorry to interrupt. And you were part of that group.
Yeah, I was part of it.
Just verifying.
Yeah. So, and I went with a buddy of mine, and he's a
racist.
Well, we're not really, we're like quasi redneck because there's like, he's owned Land Rovers in the past. He has a nice house, but he also has a lot of guns, and he does a lot of redneck shit. So, So we're taking this class, and this marshal is so opinionated about the legal system and the lawyers and the judges and Corvette drivers. And so I keep texting John all of the things he's saying that I think are inappropriate because he's a law enforcement officer and he's got all these biases. And then I realized that he likes to talk about rape a lot. So I text John, do you get the feeling this guy is kind of rapey? And so John starts laughing. He's 2 seats away from me. And then I kept track on a little, every time he mentioned rape as a crime, I put a little tick mark on the back of his business card. And this motherfucker mentioned rape 7 times in an hour and a half. That's all that I could count because we were at the end of the class. So if you do the math on that, it was like a 5-hour class. What is that? Roughly 30 times. This guy was obsessed with fucking rape, dude. And this is the instructor that's going to pass me to carry a firearm in California.
It's scary.
Yeah.
That's scary.
And he called out liberal weenies, actually is what he said. Like he's so confident in where he lives.
Did you raise your hand when he said that?
No, I fucking didn't. And he's so confident though because of where he lives that anyone that's not way right, like not even center, because to way right people, center people are liberal weenies, that he could think that he could say that and get away with it. And we were in a fucking church. We were at some Christian Bible university bullshit thing. It's like a building and they qualify themselves as a university. So I've got religion and right wing, 2 of which I am not, you know.
And he's also the only one with bullets in his ammo.
He's the only one. Yeah.
I mean, in his firearm, yeah.
This is almost, I can almost directly quote him. He said that if you plan to get an attack dog, you should get 2, because a trained assassin can incapacitate 1 attack dog by slitting its throat, but it has problems with 2 attack dogs.
This guy has read too many books. He
said the words trained assassin, like we're part of an X-Men movie, you know, like it was mind-boggling to me.
Did he point at himself?
No. He's protecting himself against so-called trained assassins.
Well, I just want you to know, all my years, I've only encountered 4 trained assassins, and I've handled each one. Well, what do you get your fire concealed weapons license for? Well, it's just in case I have a trained assassin crawling through my window.
Well, did you ever think about Brinks? Because that's what I wanted to say. I wanted to raise my hand and go, hey, fucking Brinks is $35 a month, motherfucker. Like, you don't need 2 German Shepherds. You just need Brinks.
Those German Shepherds, they eat a lot, they shit a lot, shed. Brinks.
Oh, fuck.
Or how about not piss anyone off? That's another good deterrent. I mean, trained assassins aren't indiscriminate. I mean, of the trained assassins that I know, none are indiscriminate.
Well, yeah, they're expensive. They're highly trained. They're
highly trained.
Asian. They probably know some martial arts, you know, like, yeah. I living where I live, I just want maybe a little bit of protection from white meth users. That's my fear up here, is white meth users, you know.
Well, that's a genuine fear, and that's given your region, that's high probability. You should get a firearm.
Well, yeah, I have one. I also have Brinks. That maybe surprise you. I have Brinks. Yeah. I don't have trained attack dogs, but I have dogs. So, you know, I think that I have a lot of deterrence where some crackhead just goes down the street.
Well, Chris, if you're going to train one of your dogs, I suggest you train two.
Yeah.
If you go out of your way to train one, it's really not going to help. I mean,
won't that assassin be surprised when the attack
after he slits the first throat and he relaxes?
Yeah.
It's just that moment of hesitation when Fido grabs his jugular.
Yeah. Yeah. He takes care of the one dog. He goes to the kitchen. He cracks open a Sierra Nevada because everything's cool, right? He can take his time on my family and me. And then there goes Carrera, my fucking 14-pound pug. And it's on, dude. It's on. It's him and Carrera. He drops his beer. It spills all over the place, which is all Carrera needs to attack his jugular.
And Carrera is going to be stealthy enough to wait for him to relax, crack open Sierra Nevada, take a swig, roll his eyes back for a second, and gulp. And as he's gulping, that moment, that's the opportunity. Bang! Jugular.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah,
that's all 14 pounds.
That's all 14 pounds of Carrera. Yeah, that's how because she doesn't want to burn a lot of calories because she's fat. So, yeah, that's how she wants to do it.
Fat dogs figured it out just like fat people. Ever want to figure out the most efficient way, like to set something up or to accomplish something, and got to turn on a TV? Just watch a fat person. Fat people have mastered how to accomplish things with minimal human movement.
Yeah, they're the life hack wizards.
Yeah. They'll engineer something. They'll take a stick and, piece of Wrigley's and some duct tape, and they'll figure out how to, turn everything on and off and open everything and turn on the printer, get the paper from the printer, send the fax, all without getting out of their chair. Fax machines across the room, printers in the other room.
Yeah, I saw some dude loading up his scooter. Have you seen those little scooters? He took it to Safeway, and he goes out to his car, and he's got this ramp on the back of his there's a Freestyle, it's a Ford Freestyle, and he loads it up and he lifts it up, and then somehow he manages to get up from the scooter into the driver's seat, and then he drives back to his double wide. But like that guy's got it all locked down, dude. He's like you said, he's got shit figured out.
Yeah. You just can't, if anything fucks up in that whole thing though, he's screwed. Like if the ramp comes off the tail.
Well, for him is that he's not actually disabled, he's just lazy.
Ooh.
So.
Man. I've got a problem with that. I've got a problem with like big people, and then you have the people that are overweight but they're not obese. They're like 50 pounds overweight, yet they're in the Winco cart driving around the scooter, throwing every carbohydrate in their basket. Fucking Pop-Tarts, donuts. I mean, and then they take the scooter out, they get up and pay, and they just walk around, and it's like, what? I thought you were disabled. No, I'm just lazy.
Yeah. Well, they're generally grouped. So where you live, people are fairly healthy, and they actively try to be healthy, and healthy people look better. Now where I live, and that's never more apparent than when I go someplace like San Diego, and it's like 5:30 and everybody's running and they're in far better shape than me, and you go to the beach and all these people are surfing and everybody looks great. And then you go back home and you're like, oh shit. So it's easy when you go back home to think, well, I'm not that bad.
Because oh yeah, absolutely.
If you ever
that's why people, you start out in those places, and you might even be one of them. You might be one of these bronze, in shape people, and you're on par with the other beautiful, fit, tight, athletic, svelte, people. And all of a sudden you lose a little flab, miss the sun. And he's like, oh, I'm not too comfortable. So you move north a little, oh, this is better. And then all of a sudden, you kind of maybe have a little injury, a little sideline, gain a few more pounds, so you keep migrating until you end up in freaking Fargo, North Dakota. That's it. There's nowhere to go from there, man. You're done. Well, if you're in Fargo, you're a heifer, and you're just at the trough. You're just sucking it down,
Dude.
Everyone's there. Everyone's happy.
And the thing about Fargo is it's all about unwrapping the package. Because you got a lot of fucking clothes on in Fargo. Like,
oh, yeah.
In California,
you hide the layers.
Right. Yeah, you unwrap that package, and if you're like a single dude trying to, score, and sometimes you don't want to unwrap the package,
Yeah.
I thought you were going to Alaska. We have a state up north.
Well, that's unfair because, I'm only focusing on Americans.
Well, I'm sure when you go back to New York, it's the same thing. Like, I caught that. That was good.
I know.
But when you go back to New York, it's probably the same thing. Like, I mean, I don't think people on the East Coast care so much about beauty. Like, but they're in shape. They're healthy. And to me, at 41 years old, I think healthy people are way better looking than the plasticky, put together makeup and clothes people. East Coast people are kind of no nonsense, no bullshit people, right?
Yeah.
You go to New York.
Oh, yeah. I mean,
fat bastard walking, on his little scooter, in your way when you're walking around, Manhattan. I wouldn't imagine.
No.
So.
They, there are different classes too, and then different, it's different. That's what makes America so great. Is that everyone belongs, everyone's got somewhere. And that's what makes New York great, is it's so diverse. So diverse. You could seek your level. Everyone belongs. You belong when you're not the same. That's when you belong.
Well, yeah, that's a good place to live. Some geographical locations are not like that. But
oh, you think?
You can carve that shit out for yourself.
Yeah.
Dude, I want to send you this bullet. I don't know if I can mail it to you. This seems like a federal offense.
Yeah, no, try that.
Maybe I'll slip it into your buddy Chris's carry-on and cause all sorts of problems for him at the airport.
Yeah.
That would suck. No, I somehow have to get this to you. It's my special gift to you.
A bullet with a I hate authority note in there. I'm such a dick. When I was in college, we had this, a pretty substantial library, and this is one they had. I guess libraries still have it, where you have those anti-theft little beep things.
Right.
You go through, and this is going back like 20 years, so the technology is still relatively new. And they had these like little, really super skinny slivers where you could basically open a book and drop it in between pages. So it's very difficult to find. So it wasn't like a sticker or something. They're very thin, razor thin. And you can open any book and you just drop it into the spine, and they're very difficult to detect, so you can't remove them.
Right.
And different books would have them randomly thrown in there. So, but if you're really seeking them, that every book has one or two or three in there. So I would gather them, when they started this whole new security thing, and there's one bitchy girl, right? I didn't like her. Probably didn't like her because she wouldn't give me some or something. Right. Something ridiculous, because I was so immature then. So what do immature people do? They act immaturely.
Right.
So what do I do to get back at her? I take these little spiny things, and she was studying, and I saw her studying, and she went to the restroom. And I put these fucking things all over, dropped in her, in her bag, and in her books. They were all over. They were in the hood of her jacket. They were everywhere. I watch her leave, and they stopped her for like 10 minutes and, accused her of trying to steal things and, putting her bag down, trying to leave. Then they finally found one. Then they found another, and she's still beeping, taking her shoes off.
That's awesome.
I'm such an asshole.
No, that's good.
Oh, yeah. As you grow and you develop, I think part of the recognition of your own development is key, because then you realize you grow. When you don't realize that you're growing, well, you're not growing. At least for myself. And someone asked me, when did you grow up? When do you think you grew up? And I'm like, what do you mean? When did I mature? Yeah, when do you feel like you became an adult? And I thought that was a great question, because it wasn't until I was around 32, 33 years old when I kind of snapped into like a state of maturity, I think.
Yeah.
That's pretty late in life, because all through my 20s and early 30s, when I had certain responsibilities, certain licenses, certain privileges, certain responsibilities, and I was just a child, And now, if I knew half of what I knew then of what I know now, I would have done things so differently.
Well, I mean, because I think you and I we're similar, which is probably why we're friends. Like, we're always trying to improve ourselves. And I wonder, like, I don't think I think that there's a generation gap where people older than us don't do that. So is there a point where you and I, we just kind of like tap out and we say, you know what? I'm a pretty good person. But I'm all done. I'm just going to, tap out and just maintain this? Or is it more of like a lifelong desire to always be improving yourself, to always be doing something else?
Well, I hope it's the latter. And I think that when we stop developing ourselves, mentally, physically, that's when we resign to the fact that we're, going to perish. And attitude, psychology has so much to do with how we feel and how we energize ourselves, in my opinion. So I hope it's the latter. I hope we're always inspired to do more and develop and grow and learn. I hope. I mean, I have it now.
And to try to be objective. That's the tough thing, because as you get older, you surround yourself with like ideas, and it's easy to agree with like ideas, but it's very difficult to look at, like, to listen to Michael Steele. Okay, I don't know if we've never talked about Michael Steele. I like the guy, and I like the guy because he has a platform which I don't 100% agree with, but he says what he wants to say, and he does what he wants to do, and he thinks it's the right thing to do. And that's very Reagan-ish of him. But if I was just wrapped up in this whole, if I went way right and didn't ever listen to anything from the left, like Michael Steele or Bill O'Reilly, who Bill O'Reilly supports global warming. So, like, that's kind of a kudo. You lose your objectivity, and then you just become what you hate, which is all of those people on Fox News, Yeah,
well, I mean, yeah, you're touching on to other subjects of, these polarizing personalities for ratings. Politics is an industry. It really, it's a disgusting industry. And you get personalities like, Rush Limbaugh or any of these political personalities where it's not, like you said, being objective and looking at a situation and assessing for yourself. It's, well, what is the conservative approach? What is the liberal approach? Well, I'm a liberal, so I need to side with that, rather than saying, well, you know what? That really doesn't make sense. This makes sense.
Yeah.
and applying logic, regardless of, which party is endorsing it or not. So.
Yeah, I respect people that stick to what I think are their core ideals, and and it's okay to change.
But I was going to say, but the real growth is being able to continually challenge your own ideals and admit when to yourself that, hey, wait a second, my opinion used to be A, I was exposed to B, and you know what? B actually is an improved position, so I'm switching.
Yeah.
And so few of us do that.
And no one in politics does it, because sometimes that argument would take them out of what their party would want them to do. So yeah, doing the right thing, standing by what you think is right. And you're right, that can change. That can change, in an instant. I change all the time because I'm not a career politician. Like, I'll hear an argument, I'll be like, fuck, that makes a lot of sense. Or Joe Rogan will scare the shit out of me about global overpopulation, and I'm like, fuck, we need to sterilize a third of the population, this is crazy. I read a book recently. I didn't come up with that idea on my own. I'm sorry. It's not my idea. It was.
Well, it's another thing is that, just because you stumble upon an idea, it doesn't have to be an original thought for it to be pertinent, or shared or broadcast. Popular and important ideas should be, it should be.
Yeah.
I haven't had an original thought in, I don't know, since I was 3 years old. Everything's been regurgitated, remanufactured, retreaded, and reserved.
You've done well with that. You're like Huffington Post of your transplanted sales representatives. I respect it. We're about an hour. We should probably wrap this fucker.
Well, should we, how are we going to get feedback from our podcast listening audience?
Well,
and should we,
thank you, Greg, for exposing the fact that we have no way to distribute this right now.
We have no way to distribute this. We have no real plan. But I was thinking, because we, quote unquote, I'm using air quotes, we saved our material for this. So anyone listening to this, I mean, again, I'd be shocked if it's more than 5 people first go around, but it may mushroom. Who knows? We really didn't really have a plan for this except to, attempt this and see where it goes. So on my own, I was thinking, hey, how can we improve upon the average podcast? Obviously, the material is the material, but what can we do? What may be novel? And perhaps getting some more, feedback. They would leave feedback on an iTunes page. We need a name, and then I think we need some sort of mechanism for ideas of topics.
Okay, so I just opened up Apple.com because they're the greatest company in the world, thanks to Steve Jobs. And it's a 4-step process. It's open iTunes, click the iTunes icon. From the choose genre, choose podcasts, and then click the big publish a podcast button in the middle of the screen. So even fucking retards like us can do it.
I'm sure we'll fuck it up somehow.
So we'll drop this on iTunes, and
what we need is a little bit of guidance. I think it'd be fun if someone just throw out random topics like NASCAR or ant farms or Apollo 11, something that we could just talk about and discover or share, or maybe they have questions. Hey, what's your opinion on this car versus that, or donating to Goodwill, or I don't know. I'm grasping here, but with a hint of direction, I think it would be fun to engage with some sort of audience on some level. Again, all 5 listeners.
True.
if we get 5 subscription, I'll be ecstatic. I'll be surprised. Well, two of them will be me and you. So if we get 3 more.
3 more. Well, what if one of them was from someplace like very random, very worldly? You know, like outside of the United States, like, you know, I don't know, like Argentina or something.
Well, perhaps we should do that. What we can do, and I'm suggesting we do it, is we're going to invest a little bit of money in this in the form of whatever cost it takes to, you know, record and publish this, because there may be a cost. Come up with a logo, a name, a logo, and some shirts, and give them out, or hats, or something, you know, as
pretty
prizes.
Logos. I hear you.
Because the first 100 shirts may be collector's items, maybe, and then we could have something really cool and give them out to prizes for whoever provides the best feedback or the best suggestion or whose question we use. I love questions because that it shows their involvement, meaning the listener's involvement and guidance, and hopefully this podcast will just grow organically into whatever it shall become.
I agree.
How often are we going to do this?
I think we should do it weekly. I think it's kind of healthy. Sit down with a friend of mine and talk about shit for an hour weekly. Friday nights seem to work out good, unless I'm working. Is there any way of getting a third?
Well,
I mean, I'm sure, yeah, because we're using.
We figure that one. Because maybe we could have one of the things I thought would be fun is if we had a random person that we interviewed.
Fuck yeah, dude.
Hey,
Add.
Someone calls in, we pick their name. Hey, Susan Tepperberg from Milford, Connecticut. Hey, how's it going, Susan? Oh, great. Hey, tell us about yourself, Susan. Oh, and then we just ask them.
Dude, I'm on.
This, that, the other thing.
The
kids, random people, because I think that's the beauty of the world, is the commonality of the common people. We're so separated, and we alienate so many others in general because we can't relate.
Right.
You know, we can't relate, and if we could bridge that even just a little, to let them know, so that we all realize that we all have the same goal.
Right.
You know, it may manifest itself in different forms of clothing or music or behavior or style or, you know, occupation or whatever. But ultimately, everyone just wants to be happy. Happy. And harmony, I think, could be achieved if we understand each other. You like that? And a little bit of philosophy in there. Unintended.
Like that. I knew there was a reason.
This got heavy.
That was awesome.
Wow, this became a heavy podcast just now. But that is the reason why I thought maybe we can involve just random people, because you know, maybe this guy's some sort of southern drawl that we could, now we understand why. This guy, you know, is from Laos and he's got some other accent we don't understand, but now we understand why and understand the struggles. You know, people in the Philippines, there's, you know, 5,000 dead people from a typhoon. Maybe just somehow we can understand their plight and respect it and not just dismiss it as, wow, that sucks, 5,000 people.
How crazy is that? Why are the poorest people in the world so vulnerable to natural disaster?
Because they don't have things like edifice. We have a storm come through. Oh, shit. And, oh, damn it. You know, satellite went out. I can't watch the game.
They got cell phones. I saw them charge their cell phones. We could have some sort of fucking text alert or something. I don't know, dude. That's crazy to me. Like, it was Haiti a couple of years ago. It's been the Philippines twice since then. Like, it's fucking nuts, man.
Yeah, that's crazy. You hear this? 3.5 times the magnitude of Katrina. 3.5.
Yeah.
That is, I mean, I can't even.
No, that
wrap my head around that stuff.
That shit leveled that island, dude. That fucking typhoon owned that island. It was, yeah, it's disturbing. I feel bad. We should probably be like human beings and dedicate this first podcast to those people because they didn't win the lottery. They weren't.
Yeah, no, they did not win the lottery by being born in the Philippines. Although, at least they weren't born in, somewhere in Africa.
Way to bring it down, Greg. Way to... Right. It could be worse. They could all have fucking AIDS. Way to bring it down.
All right. So, if for you three people that are actually listening to this too, in its entirety, please some feedback, some guidance, and if you'd like us to interview you, send us your contact information, and you may be our very first guest on the Chris and Greg podcast. No, we need something more.
We want to be Joe Rogan podcast, but we'll work that out.
But yeah, no, I was thinking about that, which is all true. I've had two man crushes, and I can admit this, two man crushes in my life, and they don't come easy. The first one, Derek Jeter. I could get into the whole thing as to why I have a man crush on him, but I do, and always will. And the second one, Joe Rogan. I mean, he's just a man. He's a man's man, and he's genuine, and he's everything that I'd love to emulate as far as directness, intelligence, openness, caring. It's a fucking 2-time black belt. Without lying, he's a genuine. He didn't have to lie. He didn't have to lie to Katie over there. Oh fuck. Stand-up comic. Come on, that guy's a badass. Joe is a badass. Yes. However, to name our podcast, although it's true, we want to be Joe Rogan. We respect him, and we need something a bit more clever.
Yeah, I don't know, man. He'd retweet that shit. He would because he's always talking about people like you.
Yeah, but I think he would, because it's almost as if we're seeking his identity, and
oh, you're reading too much into it. Shallow up a little bit, dude.
God damn it!
Come on, man. All right.
Now you got to take this. You got to edit it, and you need some bumper music.
I know the legality of buffer music, so I'll figure that shit out.
Oh, well, Brian, the Joe Rogan Experience on music.
Yeah.
He wrote himself, so it's original music. So
I could probably do that shit.
Well, there you go.
All right.
I didn't want to say it, but I'm sure you can. I just challenged you.
All right. So how do we close this?
With bumper music right now. Start playing the music. All right. You didn't write it.
All right. So like something like I'm Chris.
And I'm Greg, and we want to be like Joe Rogan.